Right, OK, my friends.
These negotiations were started under Liz Truss. The negotiations about the future sovereignty of the Chagos Islands. The biggest island is Diego Garcia, on which there is this UK-US base. They were started under a Conservative government.
Absolutely. The negotiation with Mauritius about the future. However, it's very important at that point to then say that was under no point was any idea that Britain was going to give away over £18 billion.
Well, that's nonsense.
Hang on, just before we jump to the figures that are involved,
they're nonsense. They're nonsense.
Well, what are they then, Lucy?
You know they're nonsense.
What are they then?
They're nonsense, and you know they're nonsense.
How can they be nonsense? She doesn't know.
No, they're nonsense.
You don't know, do you?
They will become clear, but I know that they are nonsense.
Right, well, let's talk about...
And so it's ridiculous.
Well, Richard and Lucy...
So you want to get onto that whilst ducking the very important issue here, which is, it's in our national interest and it's in our national security.
Absolutely not in our national interest.
It's in our national...
It's in China's national interest.
Don't shout over me. Don't shout over me. It's not a good look. It's in our national security.
You can't even answer the question about how much it's going to cost.
Are you talking over me again?
I'm asking you.
Are you talking over me again?
You asked
me. Are you?
Richard,
okay, can I speak?
Richard and Lucy, just
can I speak?
cool it. Right, well, hang on, I will come back to you.
Stop speaking over me.
But Lucy, answer the question about the cost.
It is in our national security and in our national interests to get a long-term arrangement to keep that important military base in Chagos, which was under big question mark, which is why the previous...
How? It's ours. We just say to Mauritius, a salute that you'll all be familiar with. I don't understand this. This does not make sense. She loses her rag. She's completely losing her rag because she knows that they are on a position that is completely untenable and that the British public see it as a complete and utter surrender signature when Sir Keir Starmer ultimately signs away billions of our money on actually maintaining a base on an island that's already ours. Let's not forget this is a government that says it hasn't got a pot to pee in when it comes to pensioners, but they've got plenty to give away because an international court tells them that actually we should secede sovereignty over the Chagos Islands. I couldn't give a flying flamingo what the ICC has to say for itself, a court that all too often sides with, I would argue, pretty dodgy decisions when it comes to international relations.
Government began these negotiations and continue to do them many times. And we've come to the beginnings of an arrangement. It's not finalised. Those negotiations are still ongoing, and the full details of those, when they are agreed, and they are agreed by Cabinet, will become to Parliament. Right. And at that point, Richard can see that what he's saying is nonsense.
Well, hang on. What he's saying, you're referring to the amount of money that he's citing. But in terms of the actual arrangement, Richard, surely what was being discussed when it first started under Liz Truss's government is the same as now, which is a lease on that base. In other words, that would have to be paid for.
Look, there's a totally different position to where Labour are now to where we were under the last government.
And what is it?
Well, I'm going to be very clear about it. What we were doing at the time was talking to them about what might be the future. It's quite clear now what's come out very quickly from this government, trying to move at an immense pace, because this has happened, remember, this happened within a few months of Labour getting into office as well, was a deal around the future, some money, Lucy won't tell us...
I'll come to that, Lucy, with the money in a minute.
It's actually going to cost us. There's real issues now, which have developed over the last few years, around not just the Silk Road initiative from China, but the massive land grab across the Indian Ocean and the Far East. There are huge international implications around that. We don't know the opinions of the American administration, our closest ally, our other NATO allies. I mean, Lucy, do you know any of the opinions of the US government about this? Or around, can you tell us the money?
Do you know?
So it goes on and on like that. I won't bore you to death with politicians wittering on for too long, especially when they're both politicians from the Uni Party who I'm at the end of my tether with. I'll tell you that much for free. But it is, I think, Richard Holden there was absolutely right to argue that this is a government that doesn't give a jot about the national interest. And you see that no clearer than in what they're doing when it comes to the Chagos Islands, in which the EU are going to get further talks from their minister in charge of the Labour Party's relations with the EU. They reinstated that position, and they, for the first time since Brexit, sent the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, to Brussels to join a meeting of the EU 27, because we all know that in his heart of hearts, and when he's not, changing positions like the Karma Sodding Sutra, that actually this is a man that still loves the EU because he loves technocracy. He loves being able to remove power from individuals. He absolutely lives for it. It's what the man's entire career has been about. So I see this as a trend. I see it as a capitulation on every front. And the only hope in both of these cases, actually, the only hope that we don't get our fishermen sold out, that we don't get the Chagos Islands sold out, that we don't get our farmers sold out, is that someone like President Donald J. Trump says that what Starmer is doing would harm the relationship between the United Kingdom and the United States of America. So once again, my friends, we are asking the United States to bail us out. I don't mean in a financial sense. Well, actually, I do mean in a financial sense, because one, we're going to be on the hook for payments to the EU, and we're going to be on the hook for payments to the Chagos, to Mauritius. None of it makes sense. He is the ultimate saboteur of national democracy, of national sovereignty, of national interest. And I didn't expect him. I never liked him, and I never voted for him, as you can well imagine. You don't have to be Nostradamus to have figured that one out. But I never thought he would go this far so fast. This is a very, very dangerous man, the most dangerous Prime Minister that we have known, certainly in my lifetime. Right, let's see what my panel make of that, shall we? I'll stop wittering on, and I'll get to some more of your comments shortly. Michael points out, though, I just want to read that out. Michael says, I thought we had a black hole. Well, exactly. They've got all this money when it suits them. When it comes to selling out Britain, they've suddenly got the nation's credit card out, and Rachel from accounts with her Lego-haired bob is tapping away on that chip and pin like you wouldn't believe. Good point, Michael.